like for you to welcome to Blue Ridge our Lieutenant Governor, Dan Forrest.
Good afternoon, everybody. It really is just a tremendous honor to be with you, and I stand before you not worthy to stand before you on Veterans Day, and just amazingly thankful to all of you who have gone before and made such a great sacrifice to our state and to our country and to the world. And there are no words that can represent my thank you to you. I'll try a little bit here in a moment. But before I get started, I want to again recognize the people that I have the honor to serve with in North Carolina, because they are heroes as well, because they understand the price of freedom, because they understand what it takes to serve you with honor in the state legislature. Again, Senator Warren Daniel, who is also a West Point grad. Senator Daniel, it's an honor to serve with you in the Senate every day and to be able to call you friend. And thank you for your service to our state. And Hugh Blackwell and Josh Dobson represent you amazingly well here in Western North Carolina. I know you know that because you call them friends as well, but I get to see them in action every day. And you are blessed to have them serving you in Raleigh. But today is about something else. It's about veterans, and I want to make sure that we officially thank them in the proper manner. Let me do a couple other recognitions in case they're here. Some folks that are doing some great work in your community. I want to recognize Superintendent Dr. Larry Putnam. Superintendent Putnam here. Clerk of Superior Court Mabel Lohman, right here up front, and Sheriff Steve Wisner is here as well. Sheriff, there's Sheriff right up front. Thank y'all for being with us today as well. And we have a special guest who is not a public official that I want to recognize, and that is Colonel William Lee Palmer, or as many of you here in the community know him as Nick Palmer. Not only was Nick a colonel in the Army, but was also a Green Beret, an incredible American who served back to back to back. That's 3 consecutive tours in Vietnam without coming home. Nick, can you please rise so we can personally thank you for your service today. And to the Board of Directors at Blue Ridge, Madam President, thank you as well for inviting me here today. And this is certainly a special day, but it's a special day because you have an organization here that is willing to recognize what makes America great, what makes your community great, and what makes this hospital great. I was extremely impressed to hear the long line of veterans that you employ here at the hospital. I don't know that I've seen anything quite like that, and that is a testament to the great organization you run. I have some notes here, and if you will just bear with me. I was sitting over on the side thing. I'm really not going to do the speech thing, so if you will please bear with me, my stream of consciousness here for a while. I just want to talk to you a little bit without the notes because this is such a special moment to me. And I'm looking at the young people over on the side over here, and we enjoy, I'm going to talk to them as well as you, but we enjoy the freedoms that we have in America because of you that have gone before us, this great cloud of witnesses that have made such great sacrifice. I have people say to me every day, as a politician, they'll say, thank you for the sacrifice that you made to our state. And the first thing I remind them of is my sacrifice is not a sacrifice at all. I voluntarily took on this job. I'm honored to do it, but the real sacrifices that are made in America are made by our active duty military and our veterans that are military. And so we're very thankful. But young people that are sitting over here, thank you for what you do. You look lovely, ladies. You look handsome, young men. And I'm reminded of the hope of the future of America when I look to young people like this, when I look to the young people that were posting our colors earlier as well. And I want to remind them, and I want to remind you of the words of Ronald Reagan, who said that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. And we don't pass that freedom on to our children through their bloodstream. Every generation then has to fight for freedom. It has to fight to pass freedom on to the next generation. And every generation that goes through living in a free country really understands less and less and less what that freedom really is, and what that freedom really means, and what sacrifices had to be made so that you can enjoy the freedoms that you enjoy every day. And people here in the audience that are here coming out for a Veterans Day event to say thank you to veterans for what they did, instead of having a day off. As Veterans Day is a holiday for many people. You take a day off, you can go shopping, you can sleep in. You came here to say thank you for those people who fought for this freedom. And I heard just last week, I read in the paper that 58% of millennials now would rather live in a socialist or communist country. I say that to you because you know as I know, they know not what they speak of. They don't know what it's like to live in a socialist or communist or fascist nation. The very nations that many of you fought against for the freedoms that the young millennials in our nation actually enjoy today and take for granted today are the things that they were saying they would rather have. And so when Ronald Reagan's words come back to my mind, I'm just reminded, it's never been more true than it is today in the history of America, that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. So young people, it really is up to you. It's up to you to be the hope of America, the hope of passing the freedoms of America on to the next generation. And when we come to honor days like this of people that have fought the tough fight and have walked alongside their friends and have seen their friends lose their lives in battle for their freedoms, and they come home and don't speak of it. They don't tell the stories. You're not going to hear the stories out of their mouths of the horrors that they experienced while in battle. When each generation passes by without hearing those stories, when each generation passes by without understanding the cost of freedom, it won't be long before it's gone. And so it's up to you, young people, to decide whether you are going to pass that freedom on to your kids or not. We live in a day and time when many people in America even, but certainly around the world, think that America is a great evil. Think that America has brought much of the evil that exists in the world today. America is the greatest country that this world has ever seen. There has been no experiment like the American experiment. There is no more inclusive or diverse or multicultural nation anywhere in the world than America. And that exists because men and women like you who have gone before us and fought the good fight for our country and for our freedoms ensured that we would be able to protect our First Amendment. That we would be able to come to a country like this, and people can still come to a country like this every day and worship freely. That you can speak freely. That you have the right to protect yourself freely in this country. As I'm traveling across the state this morning and looking at this beautiful state, I'm thankful for the freedom I have to move freely throughout this nation. And so there's much that has been sacrificed for your freedom. And I'm afraid that you're going to have to sacrifice much for the freedoms of the next generation as well. When I was growing up, I had uncles and cousins and grandparents that fought in wars, that fought in World War II and fought in Korea and fought in Vietnam, and our family holidays were generally filled with those members of my family who we would honor and want to hear the stories from. And now we have generations, we have families all over our country that don't even know anybody that served in the military, that don't have family members that have served in the military. It's a distant thing. And so it becomes more and more challenging for us to keep our nation free. And so we do have great hope and great opportunity in the future that lies ahead. And so young people, keep this at the forefront of your mind all the time. What is the cost? What is the cost for freedom? What am I willing to sacrifice for my nation? Every one of these men and women that we honor today on Veterans Day followed the words of President John F. Kennedy when he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country," and you're going to have to do the same. What is it that the Lord has in store for you to do for your nation to keep it free, so you can pass it on to your posterity? And so, again, I'm very thankful. I'm thankful that you allow me the opportunity to speak to you today. But really, I'm thankful that I have the opportunity just to come and say thank you. Thank you for those of you who have served, those of you who continue to serve our nation, and keep those freedoms in the forefront of our minds every single day. And so at this time, one more time here, what I'd like to ask is everybody that has served in the military, is active duty in the military, all branches, if you'll please rise and stand, and if everybody will please join me in thanking them one more time.
I'm sure all of you will join me in thanking Governor Forrest for his very, very kind words. And what a privilege it is to have him here. As a token of our appreciation from Burke County and Blue Ridge, we'd like to have our own Dr. Edward Pfeiffer's book on the history of Burke County. Thank you.